Anti-Semitism on college campuses. A group claiming to represent Jewish students is trying to rise above it with a provocative message, flying over Harvard University, a banner that says, "Harvard hates Jews." Jackie Ibanez is live with the latest on campus anti-Semitism. Jackie, good evening.
Hi, good evening, Trace. Well, last night we told you that many of those Ivy League presidents were working hard to clarify and clean up their controversial congressional testimony, but stopped short of apologizing or even saying the words, "I'm sorry." But in an interview with Harvard's student newspaper published Friday morning, the school's president, Claudine Gay, issued an apology stating, quote, "I'm sorry," and that words matter, adding that when words amplify distress and pain, I don't know how you could feel anything but regret. But the apologies, Trace, might be too little too late for Jewish students at Harvard who hired that plane you see right there to fly over the Ivy League with a banner reading "Harvard hates Jews." And at the University of Pennsylvania, trucks with billboards calling for the ouster of President Liz McGill have been driving around the campus. McGill is facing the most intense pressure to resign right now, with the Board of Trustees at Penn's Morton School of Business calling for her to step down immediately. One mega donor has already pulled $100 million donation from the university. At noon tonight, 72 lawmakers from both sides of the aisle have written to the boards of UPenn, Harvard, and MIT demanding they fire their school's president. That fiery letter said, quote, "It should not take public backlash nor 24 hours of reflection to realize calling for genocide is unacceptable." To have both sides saying that, now that's something. Trace?
Yeah, it's been a lot of reflection. Jackie Ibanez live for us in New York. Jackie, thank you. Let's bring in Inez Stepman, a senior policy analyst at the Independent Women's Forum, and Erika Donalds, a guest faculty member for the Leadership Institute's School Board Leaders Program. Welcome to you both. Inez, to you first. UPenn student newspaper writes the following, quoting here, "Between 6 and 8 trustees told Penn President Liz McGill at the emergency trustees gathering Thursday that while the Board of Trustees were not calling for McGill's resignation, she should think long and hard about whether she can function in her role effectively." One source who was at the gathering told the Daily Pennsylvanian, in other words, the pressure is being ratcheted up like maybe this is not the right job for you. What do you think?
I think it's long overdue. We've known about this for a long time, and there's really 2 points that I want to make about this. One, it's been a slander for a long time that the major source of anti-Semitism in America was, white working class Republican voters. That has not been true. It isn't true. It is a slander against the hardworking Americans of this country. The primary source of anti-Semitism in America is absolutely the liberal institutions. On the top of that list is universities. And the second thing is it's long past time for this and many other reasons why the Republican Party and anyone who's moderate or conservative or finds themselves horrified by what's going on the campuses needs to treat the universities as the hostile, anti-American, anti-Jewish institutions that they are, which means treating them like the hedge funds that they are and starting to think about taxing those massive endowments that the Ivy League has, because we've all handed that to them through 60 years, frankly, of policies that have been designed to make universities rich and wealthy, and they have not deserved that money. Right. They have not deserved that trust from the American people.
And Inez talks about the whole college campuses thing, but maybe it's also the DEI on the college campuses, because the Washington Examiner writes the following: until DEI offices are closed, don't expect better college presidents. One reason the presidents are so confused or duplicitous about the boundaries between protected speech and unprotected baleful conduct is that DEI regimes insist that what matters is not the actual words or actions at issue, but the group identity of the speaker or actor. And that really is it, Erika, because if you approve of the speaker, then you approve of the message.
Well, we absolutely have seen the hypocrisy of these presidents and similar leaders across the country at universities who condemn speech that actually should be free and is not condoning violence, but instead go all the way to Capitol Hill, to D.C., months after the pro-terrorism was exposed on their campuses to defend it. When someone shows you who they are, you need to believe them. We do believe them, and it's great to see people on both sides of the aisle, not just in Congress, but on these boards and donors alike calling for the resignation of these presidents. Nothing will change until they are held accountable. The only way to hold them accountable is to demand their resignations. However, it cannot stop there, because Inez is correct. It is deeply rooted in programming, in activist classrooms and syllabi, events, and student organizations. All of that must be rooted out when these presidents are gone.
And you wonder if it kind of weaves in there when you talk about believing who they are. Do you maybe not believe the college students? Because the Wall Street Journal opinion says from which river to which sea. College students don't know, yet they agree with the slogan. And that's true. I mean, half of those who say from the river to the sea have no idea what they're talking about when it comes to the river or the sea. I'm going to get you both to comment on this. I got about 30 seconds for each.
I think it would be a mistake to mistake ignorance for lack of a worldview. If you look at polling, you see very clearly there has been a result of leftist indoctrination now for a generation and a half, 2 generations of Americans. So, yes, they're ignorant, but that doesn't mean that they don't mean what they say. I think it would be foolish to think that they don't.
Yeah, and I think, you know, when you kind of look and boil these polls down, Erica, what these college kids are saying is, I'm not really well versed on, you know, the Jordan River or the Red Sea. What I'm versed on is that all of my group is pointing in this direction. Your last thoughts on this?
That's right. And as someone who's very involved in education, we know that they're not actually teaching history and geography at our higher ed institutions, but they are teaching liberal activism. And so what we have to get back to is academic excellence, actually teaching what river and what sea we're talking about, the true history of our country and of the nation. And that way our children will not just know what they're talking about in terms of geography, but they will reject anti-Semitism in all of its forms.
I mean, some of these students said the Nile River, the Euphrates River, the Dead Sea, and you think, man, geography would be a great lesson. Erika, Inez, thank you both.